You've joined Prophecy Talk for analysis of world events and unfolding Bible prophecy, brought to light by prophecy expert and author Erika Grey of www.erikagray.com.
In last week's show, I talked about conspiracy theories. I said that in this week's show, I would tell my listeners what information is out in the open and what they have missed by keeping their eye on non-existent conspiracy theories. If you purchased my report, EU Antichrist, or my book, The Seed of the Antichrist, where I expose the teachings of European federalism, which is the ideological term for one-worldism, you will have read of the ideology and its aim for a one-world government. You would also have read how Federalists believe that the EU should act as the cornerstone for uniting the world and the details about what Federalists believe and their slogans. EU Antichrist reveals that the Federalist movement in the European Union is the ideology that drives the Union, and many key leaders within the EU have come from Federalist ranks. European federalism closely aligns with the European movement, which dates back to 1947. While federalism provides the ideology and blueprint for the EU, the European movement provides the legs. As I stated last week, Bible prophecy conspiracy theorists often point to organizations such as the Freemasons, Bilderbergers, Trilateral Commission, and Council on Foreign Relations as secret organizations conspiring for world government. Well, right under the noses of conspiracy theorists existed and still exists the European movement and Euro-federalism, which they should have been paying attention to. If you do not know about it, you will learn about federalism and the European movement in today's broadcast. Unlike conspiracy theorists, whose societies are secret, Euro-federalist goals and aims are not secret at all, but out in the open for all to learn about and possibly join. Many federalists belong to the Bilderbergers, the Trilateral Commission, and have their influence within those organizations. Federalists are mistakenly called globalists. European federalists existed and started the European movement. The European movement formed in 1947, and for good reason. The European Coal and Steel Community, which pooled the steel and coal of France and Germany and marked the birth of the European Union, formed to help prevent another world war. The war officially ended with the surrender of Germany in May of 1945, followed by the surrender of Japan in August 1946. Pro-European and Federalist movements campaigned actively in favor of European unification. Some of these groups originated in the resistance, and they came together to create the Liaison Committee of the Movement for European Unity on the 20th of July, 1947 in Paris. It comprised the Independent League for European Cooperation, led by former Belgian Prime Minister Paul van Zeeland, the Union of European Federalists, led by Henry Brugmans of the Netherlands, and Winston Churchill's United Europe movement. The task was soon complicated, however, by personal and ideological differences. The Unionists wanted more of a union, while the Federalists wanted a Europe modeled along the lines of the United States. Aldous Gasperi and Paul Henry Spaak, both who were instrumental in the formation of the European Steel and Coal Community, or start of the European Union, were elected as the movement's honorary presidents. After a few name changes, after their first Congress in Europe in The Hague in 1948, they changed its name to the European Movement. So it officially became the European Movement. The movement was presided over by Winston Churchill, and the Congress brought together representatives from across a broad political spectrum, providing them with the opportunity to discuss ideas about the development of the European Union, which was the European Community prior to being renamed the European Union. The European movement enlisted important political figures of that era, such as Konrad Adenauer, Winston Churchill, Harold Macmillan, Francois Mitterrand, Paul Henry Spaak, Albert Cappe, and Altiero Spinelli, who took an active role in the Congress, and a call was launched for a political, economic, and monetary union of Europe. Many of these men were the EU's founding fathers. Francois Mitterrand later became Prime Minister of France and was noted for his contributions to the evolving EU. He supported the enlargement of the community to include Spain and Portugal, with both joined in January of 1986. In 1986, he helped the Single European Act come into effect, which made the EU's decision-making process go smoother and easier to help push through major decisions with greater ease among its members. Mitterrand worked well with Helmut Kohl and improved Franco-German relations significantly. And together, they fathered the Maastricht Treaty, which was the beginning of the European Union's uniting treaty on political union. The European movement was such an important part of foreign affairs in the wake of the war that the United States funded its operations and formed a U.S. branch. The American Committee on United Europe, founded in 1948, countered the communist threat in Europe by promoting European political integration. Its first chairman was ex-wartime OSS head William Joseph Donovan. Declassified American government documents have shown that the American Committee on United Europe was an important early funder of both the European movement and the European Youth Campaign. The ACUE itself received funding from the Rockefeller and Ford Foundations. The U.S. policy was to promote a United States of Europe, and to this end, the committee was used to discreetly funnel CIA funds. By the mid-1950s, ACUE was receiving roughly $1 million per year to European pro-federalists, supporting such organizations as the Council of Europe, the European Coal and Steel Community, and the proposed European Defense Community. Remember that the European movement gives legs to European federalism, which seeks to eliminate the nation-state with its ultimate aim of the world state as a means to end all war on the earth. Federalists latched onto the European Union as a means to pursue their goal on a smaller regional scale. The European movement's objective is to contribute to the establishment of a united federal Europe founded on democratic principles. It provides a structure to encourage and facilitate the active participation of citizens and civil society organizations in the development of a united Europe. Its 42 national councils and 32 associated member organizations work towards bringing together representatives from European associations, political parties, enterprises, trade unions, and individual lobbyists. The European movement has played a crucial role in the construction of Europe. So when you think of the European Union, you need to think of it as a federalist endeavor. As I am reciting its history, you have to keep in mind that the European movement is dominated by Euro-federalists. And what is Euro-federalism's long-term aim? But world government, with the European Union acting as the cornerstone for uniting the world. The parallel here is that Jesus is the cornerstone of the church, and he unites the church to the Father. The European Union will unite the Antichrist to the world. To show you how effective the European Union is, its main focus of attention centers on influencing political, social, and cultural areas of European society. The European movement has been responsible for notable achievements which have greatly contributed to the European Union. The first major achievement was the setting up of the Council of Europe in May of 1949. The European movement was also responsible for the creation of the College of Europe in Bruges. It is to the European political elite what the Harvard Business School is to corporate America. The Economist describes it as an elite finishing school for aspiring Eurocrats. The Financial Times writes that the elite College of Europe in Bruges is an institution geared to producing crop after crop of graduates with a lifelong enthusiasm for EU integration. Since 1948, the European movement has lobbied for further integration on numerous subjects. It worked in favor of the direct election of the European Parliament by all European citizens, in favor of the Treaty on the European Union, the Maastricht Treaty, and also for a European Constitution. Its objective was to transform the relations between the United European States and its citizens into a federal European Union. Currently, the EMI is represented in 41 European countries and regroups 20 international associations. Now, if this isn't organized, I do not know what is. If you subscribe to Global Watch Weekly, they will be coming out with an issue where I write about Eurofederalism and the European movement, and I highlight the EU's movers and shakers within the European Union, and you will see in that report how many key European Union leaders, prime ministers, European members of parliament, EU parliament presidents, and even heads of NATO are Euro-federalists. To the conspiracy theorists who have been listening these last couple of broadcasts, I believe I've helped prove to you beyond a doubt the error of those teachings and have revealed to you now what has existed right underneath the noses of conspiracy theorists, which frankly is more in line with Bible prophecy and more shocking to the believer who knows what the Scripture teaches about what is ahead.
Thank you for listening today. Tune into Prophecy Talk next week with author and prophecy expert Erika Grey. In the meantime, be sure to visit Erika Grey's website at www.erikagray.com.